guys? It's Joshua Reviews. Okay, so we're done with haunted house attraction Halloween movies. I think it's time we move on to slashers, everyone's favorite subgenre of horror. And by everyone, I mean by there's no way I can get out of this without offending anyone. Because I do like slashers as much as the next person. I think that, and I'll even say this, as a Christian, what I like about them is the fact that they represent good and evil. And for the original Halloween, for example, it showcases us literally what happens when good and evil face off against each other. So I think slashers have the potential to be really cool. It just sucks that some of them are really, really, really boring. I don't get it. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not want to review this movie. So this movie is called Devil's Night, but this movie also has an alternate title. Yes, it's one of those. The alternate title is Left 4 Dead. Both these names get said twice in the film, so I was like, okay, I can see why they did that. This film stars Danielle Harris. And if you know her, she's the one that played Jamie in Halloween 4 and 5, and was also Laurie's friend in, I think it's Lindsay. She plays Lindsay. I believe, I might get that wrong, but I know she's in the Halloween remake. There's 2 Halloween remakes for Rob Zombie. But she's in this movie, but she's nothing more than just a glorified cameo. Although it does star my favorite dude. He's in the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie. He plays Chris Redfield. He's in this movie, and he plays Blair, odd name. So this movie is about a bunch of dudes in Halloween masks. They basically gang up on a dude because I guess he was rummaging through their truck and stole one of their wallets, and they basically attacked him to get it back, but they accidentally push him, and he basically just... So similar as to I Know What You Did Last Summer, like all these horror slasher movies do, they just seem to rip off each other. They just leave him, and they don't even know if he's alive or dead, and a year later, or I think it's a few years later, I don't know, but year or 2 or whatever later, this guy in a mask, this Michael Myers ripoff mask, starts hunting them down and starts trying to kill them. So, I mean, right off the bat, you've seen this exact movie and concept before. It's nothing original, but honestly, I don't really mind that. I mean, as I've said before, I think it doesn't matter if a movie has certain cliches as long as it's handled or executed well. And on top of that, if it's entertaining, I don't really care. The problem with slashers is that a lot of them are really fucking boring. I don't know what it is, but a lot of them are just boring. Thankfully, though, this one not only was not boring, but this one actually managed to keep my interest. I'll say the first half is a little slow, but towards the second and third, the final act, I was really like, I want to find out who's doing this. Okay, let's see where this goes. I will say the one thing that doesn't work for me in this movie is a lot of the references, because there's a lot of movie references. Not direct movie references, like a character doesn't quote a movie line or something, but there's a lot of homages or the filmmakers are obviously paying homage to a lot of other early slashers. There's a kill, if you remember Friday the 13th Part 2, the bedroom kill where Jason basically sticks the spear through the couple having sex. That kill was literally replicated in this film. I mean, it was cool, but it was kind of okay, you're just kind of borrowing from a better movie. So, because obviously this movie's not great by any means, even though I said it's not boring. So, a film can still be entertaining, but still not be that good. And this film's not great by any means. The characters are kind of one note, but there's enough in it. What the hell was that sound? I don't. But there's the characters are kind of one note. I mean, they're not awful. I mean, I kind of enjoyed watching our main character. I think it's, damn it, I say I like a film and then I forget the character's name. I'm just awful with names. I met someone last week and I forgot his name already. It's I'm awful with names, but it doesn't matter. yeah, I thought the main character was interesting. I thought it was interesting that they chose to have him be in like a, in a cast or with crushes, because I was like, okay, that kind of adds another layer to, like, his vulnerability, like, the killer will be after him. And, there actually is a compelling mystery. Like, the way the characters talk is actually normal. You have no idea how refreshing it is to see characters talk like human beings in a slasher when some of them are literally just talking about nonstop sex. And don't get me wrong, they do. They talk about drugs and sex and booze and all that other junk. But what surprised me was the fact that everyone at least felt like everything felt organic. They felt like real friends because they're at a college campus and, they talk like human beings. So it was kind of refreshing to see that. And I'll say this, the kills were fairly cool. I mean, there's a handful of kills that don't really look that great but are convincing. But there's at least one or two kills that I was like, okay, you at least look like they were trying. There's a few fight scenes that also look like they were trying. I'll say the one thing that doesn't work for me is the editing. There's some weird editing choices. One girl gets her neck snapped and it immediately cuts. Like, as soon as, it just cuts. Like, right there. It cuts so fast that I bursted out laughing because of the way it cut. It was so jarring and so, like, what the fuck? But it was so, the way it went and then cut to the next scene of someone jogging, I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. I can't deny that. There's also another part where Chris Redfield is chasing, Blair. He's chasing the killer, and it's sped up. They speed up the shot of him running, and he tackles the killer down, and then they just fall. And the way the sound mixing was done, it got another laugh out of me. It was pretty funny. I will say this: there are a few surprising deaths here and there, and the movie is really short, so the movie never feels like it's wasting your time. I saw a lot of people review this, and I also saw a lot of people on Letterboxd give this movie 1 out of 5 stars. I wouldn't go that far. It's not great by any means. I'm not trying to persuade anyone and say this is a film you should definitely seek out. No, this movie's not great, and honestly, the things I did enjoy, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I know a lot of people don't find the same stuff enjoyable as, people are going to find different things enjoyable. So I'm not like, oh, you got to watch this movie or whatever. It's whatever. So, but it was fun. Had a cool, decent Halloween atmosphere, cool killer, some decent kills. Acting was fairly decent. Directing was fairly competent. It's low budget, but it's fine for what it is. I'm gonna give it a C+. Kind of a weak C+, maybe just barely a C, but I'm still gonna C+. So yeah. Okay, so now that we're done with the haunted house movies, we're now going on to slashers before we move on to anthologies. So hopefully the next killer slasher Halloween movie is pretty good.